When we think of ninjas, we often imagine masked figures dressed head to toe in black, slinking through the night like shadows made flesh, disappearing into the wind with a puff of smoke. They're the embodiment of stealth, mystery, and badassery, but as with most historical figures that have been swallowed whole by pop culture, the reality of the ninja is far more complex, less glamorous, and sometimes downright gritty. The ninja, known as shinobi in Japan, was not some mystical shadow warrior with superhuman abilities, but rather a trained agent of espionage, sabotage, guerrilla warfare, and sometimes assassination. The story of the ninja is a tangled web of myths, legends, and historical reality that stretches across centuries, and just like any good tale, it's riddled with controversies, bloody battles, and a healthy dose of deception. The birth of the shinobi, a war-torn origin story. The ninjas didn't spring fully formed from the mist like some mythological creature. No, they were born in the fire and blood of Japan's tumultuous feudal period, a time when warfare was less a rare event and more a permanent state of existence. Picture it, Japan in the 15th century, a country where the samurai ruled with ironclad honor, and the land was splintered by constant battles between warring clans. Now, samurai are all about their code, Bushido, or the way of the warrior. Honor and valor were everything, even if that meant dying senselessly in battle or ritual suicide when things went sideways. And, let's be honest, that level of pride doesn't exactly lend itself to sneaky tactics like espionage. Enter the ninja. It's here, in the hills and forests of the IGA and Koga regions, that the shinobi began to emerge. These rural, mountainous areas became breeding grounds for small clans of people who realized that if you couldn't overpower your enemy, you could always outthink them. They became the masters of asymmetrical warfare, ambushes, sabotage, intelligence gathering. Think of them as the original special forces, using their brains over brawn, ditching the heavy armor for light, practical clothing that allowed for mobility. They were the perfect foil to the samurai's rigid sense of honor. Where the samurai fought in the open field, the ninja struck from the shadows. The famous ninjas, legends in the shadows. One of the most legendary figures in ninja history is Hattori Hanzo, a name that has since been immortalized in film, TV, and of course Quentin Tarantino's Kill Bill. But the real Hattori Hanzo wasn't a sword-making recluse. He was a skilled warrior and tactician who served Tokugawa Ieyasu, one of Japan's most powerful and influential shoguns. Hattori's specialty wasn't just sneaking around or throwing shurikens like a deadly game of darts. He was a master of military strategy. When Ieyasu's life was threatened during a power struggle, it was Hattori Hanzo who escorted him through enemy territory, using guerrilla tactics and ninja trickery to evade capture. Without Hattori's assistance, Japan's future might have looked very different. No Tokugawa shogunate, no unified Japan, and certainly no Kill Bill. But while Hattori is a household name, other ninjas were far more elusive, like Momochi Sandeyu, one of the most feared leaders of the IGA ninja clans. His life is shrouded in mystery, as you'd expect. But stories of him describe a man who blended seamlessly into society, living under various aliases, training new generations of ninjas, and orchestrating covert operations. His existence was almost a ghost story, appearing out of nowhere, striking swiftly, and vanishing before anyone even knew he was there. And then there's Fuma Kotaro, a ninja leader from the Sengoku period who became known for his guerrilla tactics against the Takeda clan. Fuma's band of ninjas specialized in naval combat and psychological warfare. One of the most famous stories of Fuma involves him luring an enemy fleet into a narrow strait where he had prepared traps. When the ships became tangled and stuck, Fuma's men launched a surprise attack, setting the ships ablaze and slaughtering the enemy forces in a chaotic, fiery massacre. If Hattori Hanzo was a strategist, Fuma Kotaro was the embodiment of chaos. Controversies and misconceptions, separating myth from reality. Here's the thing, ninjas were spies, and spies are notoriously good at spreading disinformation. This means that much of what we think we know about ninjas is, at best, unreliable. and at worst, complete fabrication. So let's clear up some of the more glaring misconceptions. First off, ninjas weren't exclusively dressed in black. The classic image of the all-black ninja suit comes more from Japanese theater than history. In kabuki theater, stagehands would wear black to appear invisible to the audience, and ninjas were often portrayed similarly. In reality, ninjas would wear whatever helped them blend in: farmer's clothes, monk's robes, even the armor of a fallen enemy. They were chameleons, adapting to their environment rather than sticking out like a sore thumb in an all-black jumpsuit. Another misconception: ninjas weren't just lone assassins lurking in the dark, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Sure, assassination was part of their skill set, but their true strength lay in their ability to gather intelligence, sabotage enemy plans, and manipulate events from behind the scenes. In many ways, they were more akin to modern-day intelligence agents than comic book anti-heroes. Think less Batman, more James Bond, except with fewer gadgets and a lot more poison. One of the most hotly debated aspects of ninja history is their use of magic, ninjutsu. The line between fact and fiction gets blurry here. Some historical accounts describe ninjas using supernatural powers to disappear, control the elements, or even summon animals. Of course, these were most likely exaggerated stories meant to enhance the ninjas' mystique and instill fear in their enemies. Psychological warfare, after all, is one of the most effective tactics. Misunderstood warriors, the ninjas' reputation. Despite their essential role in Japan's history, ninjas didn't exactly enjoy a stellar reputation. While samurai were seen as noble warriors who lived and died by a code, ninjas were often considered dishonorable, cowards who hid in the shadows, using trickery instead of facing their enemies head-on.
Where have you been?
We weren't... I forgot to soak my retainer.
Oh, I'm totally sleepwalking. Look, Mike is sleeping and walking. He's totally innocent.
It didn't help that many ninjas were also mercenaries, offering their skills to the highest bidder. In a society that valued loyalty and honor above all else, the ninjas' pragmatism made them outcasts. They were the necessary evil in a world where power ruled, but they were rarely celebrated. Instead, they were tolerated, feared, and sometimes even vilified. Comparing the ninja to other historical figures. If we take a step back and look at the ninja in the broader context of history, they share a surprising number of similarities with other covert operatives and resistance fighters throughout time. Take the assassins of the Middle East, for example. Much like the ninjas, the assassins were skilled in the arts of stealth, subterfuge, and assassination. They operated in the shadows, using their intimate knowledge of the land and people to strike fear into the hearts of their enemies. And then there are the resistance fighters of World War II, who used guerrilla tactics to disrupt the operations of occupying forces. Like the ninjas, they were often ordinary people who took up arms not because they wanted to, but because they had to. They used the land to their advantage, sabotaging supply lines, gathering intelligence, and striking from the shadows before disappearing into the forests and mountains. Ninjas in modern culture, from turtles to assassins in suits. The ninja's impact didn't end with the fading of feudal Japan. It exploded into pop culture with a force as silent and deadly as their legendary shurikens. The mystique of the ninja, blending discipline, stealth, and deadly precision, seeped into our movies, comics, and video games, turning them into a global cultural phenomenon. One of the most iconic examples is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, a group of mutant reptiles trained in ninjutsu by a giant rat sensei named Splinter. Yes, the premise is ridiculous, but the appeal is undeniable. The turtles reflect the ninja ideal of brotherhood and loyalty, all while wielding weapons like nunchucks and katanas as they fight evil in the shadows of New York City. In essence, the turtles captured the ninja's core attributes: stealth, skill, and a code of honor, wrapped in a delightful 80s package of pizza and surfer lingo. They introduced the younger generation to the idea of the ninja, blending cartoon absurdity with real historical concepts like discipline and secrecy. In Japan, the portrayal of ninjas is even more widespread, and anime is filled with various interpretations of the shinobi. Take Naruto, one of the most famous examples. Naruto Uzumaki, a young ninja in training, learns the ways of the shinobi in a world where ninjas harness supernatural powers, a fictional spin on the old ninjutsu myths. The series dives into themes of loyalty, betrayal, and the blurred lines between good and evil. It takes the concept of ninjas and elevates it to a near mythical level, where ancient skills intertwine with modern ideas of family, identity, and legacy.
Are you saying that right now?
And then there's Kill Bill, where Quentin Tarantino breathes life back into the classic image of the ninja. Uma Thurman's character, the Bride, trained under a master swordsman, becomes the very embodiment of the modern-day ninja, lethal, relentless, and precise. The fight scenes in Kill Bill are dripping with graphic intensity. The Bride slices through her enemies with the cold precision of a katana-wielding specter, her movements a dance of death, with blood splattering like a Jackson Pollock painting. Tarantino clearly pays homage to the mythical ninja's lethal elegance, adapting it for the brutal, hyper-stylized violence of cinema. Lastly, we come to John Wick, who, though not a traditional ninja, embodies many of the same traits. Wick is a ghost in a world of professional killers, slipping in and out of locations undetected, taking down enemies with calm, calculated precision. Guns have replaced swords, but the essence of the ninja is alive in Wick's lethal efficiency. He dispatches foes with a cold focus that's almost zen-like, channeling the spirit of the shinobi through bullets instead of blades. John Wick's underworld of assassins, with its strict codes and hidden allegiances, feels like a modern retelling of ninja clans, shadowy, deadly, and bound by an unspoken code of honor.
Maybe we should go inside.
But Marge, that little guy hasn't done anything yet. Look at him. He's gonna do something, and you know it's gonna be good.
If this narrative resonated with you, do support us. Hit that like button, drop a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe. Thank you for staying with us to the end. See you in the next video on Plaid Chronicles.